Alright, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ron and behind me is my 2018 Subaru WRX. So a few months ago I released a video. It was a mod overview of my WRX and basically I listed out everything I've done to the car so far, and one of the things that I said I would address was the suspension. So I finally got around to doing this and I want to show you guys what I picked up. I'm really excited about this and I can't wait to get them on the car. So what we have here are the Bilstein Cup Sport struts and shocks, and these are paired with the RCE Yellow Lowering Springs. So it's not gonna lower the car by a whole lot, but it should improve the handling. And you know, I don't wanna go too low. I still wanna make this drivable because it is my daily driver. According to the website, it's gonna lower the car by 20 millimeters for the front and rear of the car. So convert that to inches, that's less than 0.8 inches. And that's exactly what I was looking for. You know, I don't wanna have any issues going over bumps or anything like that. And I still, like I said, wanna make the car drivable. So I got these for a really good deal. Shout out to Mitch from Melee Design Firm. He switched up his setup on his shop STI and I decided to purchase these off of him for a really good deal. So can't wait to get them on the car. I won't be installing them today just because I need time to plan these out and I'll need to find an alignment shop right after. So far they're in good condition, a little dirty, but we'll take care of that today. All right, so it's actually the following day and I finally got these all cleaned up and they look pretty good. So I did my best to just kind of scrub off all the dirt and stuff like that. We are ready to install them. So obviously these are already pre-assembled, so I'm not gonna go through that entire process with you guys, but these are the stock top hats from the 2017 STI. So that's the car they came off of. And it should be just a direct plug and play with my car right here. So first we just gotta raise the car up, secure it, take the tire off, and then swap out the suspension components. I know it sounds like it's pretty simple, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna run into some issues along the way. Like with all other installs, you know, it's just how it goes. And then you guys probably see here, I already took off all the mats and liners and stuff like that from the trunk, just because we need access to these bolts right here. So for the driver's side, and then for the passenger side. I'm hoping it goes smoothly. It should, as long as I do everything consistently. So I'm just gonna try to provide you guys with the most relevant information. This is not intended to be a step-by-step tutorial. I just wanted to show you guys how I do this. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we wanna go ahead and loosen up the lug nuts before raising it up. So I know I got this baby jack right here, but it's been working for years. So I do eventually plan to get a bigger one, but for now, it works. So let's go ahead and proceed with the removal of the tire. All right, so after we get this clip off and this 12 millimeter bolt holding this line right here, we can go ahead and remove these two bolts right here. These are both 19 millimeters each. All right, so I finally got the two bolts off and the studs, so now you want to just let this drop easily. So now that the strut is loose, next thing we want to do is to go ahead and loosen the three top hat bolts, and then we'll swap out the Bilstein shocks for these ones. So let's go ahead and do that. Next step is to remove these three top hat nuts, and these are 12 millimeters. And of course I can't get my impact drill over there on the back side. So be careful removing the third one. What you want to do is basically to remove two of them. Once you got the second bolt off, hold the strut assembly while you're twisting it off so it doesn't fall. When this third nut comes off, it's gonna fall down. So just be mindful of that. Ready to take the third one off. So third nut is off and we are now dropping spring assembly. So just watch out for all the other components when you drop it. You don't want to scratch anything or damage anything. There we go. Magic. So I'm actually gonna put it in the same way I took it out. One arm kind of holding it in place and then the other arm putting the nuts on. So after we get the hats torqued down, next thing we want to do is to basically just put everything back together. Two 19mm studs and the bolts, and then the two lines that we pulled off. So that took a little bit of work to get this back into place. Here, what I found was if you just push down on the rotor right here, this thing will move down pretty easily, and then you can get your studs back through just like that. And these ones, according to RCE's website, we want to torque down to 129 foot-pounds. So we will go ahead and do that, and then put these lines back on. Your brake line is 23.6 foot-pounds. And this one you can just clip back in at any time. There we go. So I got everything torqued up to spec. The next thing I'm gonna do is put the wheel back on and then go ahead and work on the rear side. And then after we drop this, we're gonna torque it down to 89 foot-pounds. Basically, this is how low it's gonna sit, which is perfect in my book. Yeah, let's go ahead and start on the backside. In order to remove the rear shock, you're gonna need to remove these two nuts and bolts right here. So one is for the actual shock itself. It's on the swing arm right here. And the other one is for the sway bar end link, which is this smaller one right here. This bigger one right here is a 17 mil. And then this one is a 14 mil in the back. Okay, so I just checked again, and we're actually gonna have to take off 4 bolts. So we have 1, 2, and then the third one right here, I think that's an 8mm, this one. And then there's one more that's back there, that's another 17 mil. And then that should give us access to the shock, just because I can't push it down no matter how hard I try, so. Finally got it off. All right, now that we got the stock suspension off, we wanna go ahead and put these ones on, and just same steps as you took it out. Since I only have one jack, I'm gonna need to use the factory jack to lift up the rear control arm, just so I can get everything bolted back up. All right, so we finally got all the nuts and bolts back in the rear control arm, and now we're ready to torque them down. The 2 bolts in the trunk, those are gonna be torqued down to 22.4 foot-pounds to be specific, those 2 right here. So this one that's holding in the shock needs to be torqued down to 89 foot-pounds. This one holding the rear end link needs to be torqued down to 33.2 foot-pounds. And for the limited STI and WRX models, I believe this is your steering responsive headlights, the sensor for that. I could be wrong, but anyway, if you have this 10mm nut right here, you want to torque it down to 18 foot-pounds. And then that last one over there where the subframe is needs to be torqued down to 59 foot-pounds. So we took out 1, 2, 3, 4 nuts if you have the limited models. We're gonna go ahead and torque it down, put the wheel on, and then do the other side. All right, so I got everything all torqued up and buttoned down. Now it's time to put the wheel back on and then go get started on the other side. Just to recap, I know it was a little confusing on this part, but you know, I'm by myself obviously, so I don't have any helping hands here. So I couldn't push this down, you know, no matter how hard I tried, so I couldn't get the stock shock off. So what I ended up doing was taking off 4 total bolts. Again, 4 if you have the limited model, because this little one right here is actually the headlight leveling sensor. You know, if you have a base or a premium, I don't remember which has the steering responsive headlights, but you want to take off this one right here, this one right here for the end link, and then there's one more back there that is connected to the chassis. So 3 bolts total, and then you should have access to the shock. All right, so I finally got one side done. That actually took me quite a while, just because I'm trying to film and explain a little bit of the steps. Like I said, I didn't intend for this to be a step-by-step tutorial, but I can't help it. I have to explain what I'm doing. Otherwise, I won't get it done correctly. So this side is done. Like I said, it's not too low. You can notice it a little bit. It looks a lot better, but I guarantee you that the ride quality is gonna be a lot better and probably a little stiffer than stock. Yep, so let me go on the other side, see if we can spot a difference. Yeah, you can tell just a little bit that it's lower on the other side, but not too much. So I hope you guys enjoyed that install. I am gonna go ahead and just do a time lapse of the other side. I still wanna get it on video, just, you know, for the memories and whatnot, but I don't need to explain everything twice again. So yeah, with that said, let's enjoy this time lapse, and then I'll close out the video. Alright guys, there we have it. I've just finished the install, and man, it is it's took me all day, but it looks pretty good so far. I do need an alignment, I could tell already. I just gotta put in the trunk stuff, and then should be good to go. I had to take my beanie off just because it was so dirty. Check that out. My piece of advice, if you're gonna try to do something like this, make sure you got nowhere to go. Maybe do it on a Friday night or something like that, and that you have hours upon hours to work on your car. I said this in the beginning of the video, you know, you're gonna run into some issues. It's inevitable. No matter what you install, there are gonna be some issues that you just don't plan for. In this case, it was just, since I didn't lift the car from the center, you know, from the center front, center back, getting those last 3 bolts in were really difficult. Just because there's load on the other side from me lifting the car off of one side. But, you know, I made it work after a million attempts. I am in need of a shower. I've been on the ground, rolling around getting the suspension installed. But yeah, I think I'm gonna close out the video here. If you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.